Take it away.
Yes, Brent, so we're now outside the arena where the speech took place. A bit of a party atmosphere here, and we're joined by Matthew Corey, a veteran of the Navy who's now running for 1st District of Congress in Hartford, Connecticut, a Trump supporter right from the start. So, Matthew, what did you make of the speech?
I thought it was an optimistic speech. He's talking about job growth, lifting the middle class, and lifting people that are in poverty up to the middle class. And no, I don't think any other candidate can do that, because we need a job creator and a businessman and a job creator in the White House. As myself, I am a businessman, small business. I own a small Irish pub, and I understand it. It's in the inner city, and I see the struggles of the poor inner city people that are looking for work.
Now, you say it was an optimistic speech, and some of the tone seemed optimistic, but some of it did also seem very dark. You know, talking about the situation that the country's in, talking about crisis, crime, international humiliation. I mean, do you think that is one of the reasons you're drawn to Donald Trump? Do you have a similarly bleak view of the way America is right now?
I think so. As a U.S. Navy veteran, our military has been weakened, and as a country that leads the free nation and the free world, we need to lead from the front. And to draw red lines, as Donald Trump said, and not follow through our commitment is a huge deal. And when I watched my fellow U.S. Navy sailors on their knees in Iran, that broke my heart. And I think anybody that would support our veterans would see the same thing. So we don't have a commander-in-chief. We have somebody that wants to lead from behind. And yes, there is bleak. The country is bleak. It's more divided now than it was 8-10 years ago. You know, we thought we got past racism when we voted for the first African-American president. People shouldn't look at race or color. Should be looking at the character of that person to run this country. And I think Donald Trump has that character to run this country, because he has found the excellence in people. And if he hasn't found the excellent people, he brings them to that excellence.
And yet, I mean, you talk about divided America. This week, some observers have seen a divided Republican Party. Last night, Ted Cruz, who came runner-up during the primaries, made a speech in which he refused to openly and clearly endorse Donald Trump. What did you think about that speech last night?
Look, I love Ted Cruz's policies. He's a true patriot for American values. What it is, I think unfortunately in politics, personal attacks become the norm, which I think the entire American country is disgusted with. But I take it as a sports thing, whether it's European football or American baseball. What are we going to teach our youths? We're both at a championship game. There's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. What sportsmanship is, you got to come together at the end and you shake hands after the game. And I think that's why people are going to go to an outsider, because there's too many egos in Washington, whether it's Democrat or Republican, and they need to stand up for the American people. If you go to Washington to enhance your own personal career and not think about the generations after you, then this isn't the business you should be in. And that's why I'm running against an insider that's been in Washington for 18 years, who has failed the inner city.
And just before we pass back to the studio, pass back to Brent back in Berlin, the tone of this week is sometimes people quite angry, particularly towards Hillary Clinton. We heard just during the speech there, from the first mention of Hillary Clinton by Donald Trump, there were chants from the crowd saying, "Lock her up, lock her up." Do you feel that kind of angry tone, what some people might see as an exaggeration, that might turn off independent voters in the middle who are watching this and think, do you really want to lock up Donald Trump's opponent?
Well, if you look at the inner cities and you look at the policies of the Democratic Party, you don't have to look any farther than the prison systems. But I'll take it one step further than that. What we had witnessed here this week was the Republicans showing an optimistic view of America. And what you're going to witness next week when you report it, you're going to see a victimization policy of the Democratic Party. Everybody's going to be a victim because somebody else is successful. They're going to say, you couldn't succeed in America because somebody else did. That's not the right message. The right message is that everybody can be lifted if you put hard work in, and if everybody has an equal opportunity to do that. And if you look at our school systems that he was talking about, The poor inner city people do not have the same quality of school as somebody like Donald Trump's kids have. And he wants to bring that equality to everyone in America. It's not about bringing wages and tearing down somebody that's successful to equalize it. But that's the message you're going to see from the Democratic Party next week. You're a victim because somebody else is successful. Donald Trump and the Republican Party wants to find the optimism in people in America.
Thank you very much. We're going to have to leave it there and pass back to Berlin. Obviously, strong support for Donald Trump here from Matthew Corey, a Trump supporter. Back to you, Brent.